Hey, nice to see you guys. Hopefully got to see some different faces or different people. I usually do these in the New York session. So I hope to see some of you guys differently. Probably it's a spontaneous stream. I was either going to do one tomorrow during the New York session or I'm gonna do one during now, which is the Asian session, which is I do have time now. So I definitely can do one today and hopefully talk to a few of you guys. Yeah, nice to meet you, beta version Medka. Yeah, I see you a lot, so nice to see you. Sam, nice to see you. Sarder, yeah, nice to see you, buddy. So probably not gonna be too many people on, but I don't mind doing the stream. I don't mind talking to some of you guys, or maybe get to talk to a few people who are in the Asia zone because we are entering the Asia session now, right? So I'm gonna just wait another minute or so if you guys don't mind. Just another minute, see who else will actually be on. If they're on, and I'll get started right away after. So just for the anybody who didn't read this yet, because there's all scammers around. There's been scammers around using my name, using my avatar. So if you haven't watched this, just make sure you understand about people who are pretending to be me messaging you. Um, in reality, I would never message you first out of nowhere. So that's probably right away. If somebody pretend to be me messaging you, right away should be a red flag. I will never message you to sell you anything, to offer you, the typical premium signal, group, subscription, blah, 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 blah. I will never message you for money or crypto. And I'll never message you for, to join anything because, or some sort of automated trading or AI trading or whatever, because that's not what I do, right? But people, all these scammers will just use people's name to sell things. So just be aware of that. I don't do any of those, so it should be a red flag right away. You can find this post in my Telegram. If you join my Telegram, I always update these to everyone. So I just hope everyone out there to understand this happens a lot. Just don't get trapped or don't get lured into these scams because they are all around us. So let's get started now. Let's get started now. We're gonna go over kind of what I see on the market. I'm available every session. Good for you, my friend. I just want to make sure, can everyone hear me? And is my chart clear? The quality is the chart and the sound is okay. And the drawing, you can see all my drawing as well. Can I just get a yes from everyone that is available? And we can get started right away. So anybody on YouTube, just give me a yes if all that is good. Sound, quality, drawing is okay. And if there's anyone on TradingView, let me know as well. So if on TradingView is all good, please let me know. And then we can get started. So I hear and see you perfectly. Good, 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 good. Nice, nice. Good to see that. Good for you guys. So as you guys know, I usually do these during the New York session, but I was not available during the New York session today. So I apologize on that, but let's do one now during the Asia session and hopefully meet some new people or talk to some of you guys who don't usually join the New York one because maybe you guys are sleeping during the time. Hopefully, it will be a good interaction, right? We just have a few more days till the end of the week. So we can certainly take a look at what is on my watch list. So I just post that. I just updated this in Telegram. Post what I was looking out for the remaining of the week. So we'll go over all these pairs, commodities, and some crypto. But in order, I'm gonna go over the position I have that's running. I'll go over Forex and I'll go over commodity, indices, and crypto in that order. So what I have on right now, so I just have one trade on right now, which is silver. I mentioned about Aussie Kiwi. I did have to close down Aussie Kiwi. I did have to close down Aussie Kiwi, and I mentioned about there was a little bit of volatility here. So I basically had the first position closed almost 1%. Second position closed more than 1%, about 1.0 something percent. But to me, reality, it's a break even. It's a little bit off in terms of dollar amount, but to me, the trade wise, it's a break even. Um, just couldn't hold through the spread here. There was a lot of spread, a lot of volatility. So I got tagged out here. This is where I got tagged out here, and pretty much ended with the break even. I'm okay with that, but price continued to push up here. So anybody who hold it from the bottom here is a good hold, right? That's good for you to hold on to, and you're able to have a probably bigger stop loss perhaps, but I still look for the target here as the main target to go, right? But if you're in the trade, or maybe you got in on this, good job. There's still room to the upside, I think. So that is Aussie Kiwi, so I got on that position. But I'm still eyeing on this position. If there is possible entries, I could potentially get back in if that's possible. But, unfortunately, that was just getting tagged out here for pretty much break even for both position. But these things happen, especially on pairs that has a little bit bigger spread or maybe a little bit more volatility during the, higher volatility time. So, that happens, right? So it doesn't bother me when situation like this happens. It's something that's out of your control, right? So that's Aussie Kiwi, but let's go to silver, which is a trade I just got in, I think just before the rollover time. So let's take a look here. I got in silver. I like silver's overall price. I think silver is potentially at a place where I want to be able to long or potentially long for a longer term. So silver here, I see this as a higher time frame structure. We have this higher time frame impulsive move, higher time frame structure, and I mentioned about this maybe a while back that I was looking at this to see. I want to see price to basically move down once more, right? This is where the price was at. I prefer the price to push down here to the bottom here, which is where we are now, and possibly looking for the long-term reversal, right? Mentioned this in July, so it's been playing out pretty much, right? We did see this push down. We did see the price push down once more, and we're at the bottom now, right? And this is the previous low, so there certainly can be a double bottom here. And judging by the overall higher time frame and lower time frame price action, I like how we have almost like a descending channel as well moving down, and we have an inverse head and shoulder here, which can easily give us another bullish up move, right? So I like the overall top-down approach. I like the bullish price action in the making. So I just set the entry order here. It's a little bit more risky because we haven't break out of this descending channel yet, which is an alternative way to enter if the price does break out of this descending structure and lower time frame continuation. I think that is the same buy. That is a buy as well. I might even consider this buy if the price does push out. But I like where it is. This is where the price is the first initial entry that I spotted, at least from my perspective. I like the inverse head and shoulder. I like this push down. Wasn't kind of correct here to go lower, like something like this. I see this push down here from this previous correction. Push down and then basically correct here and then push down again. But not seeing here the same thing. And I do see the inverse head and shoulder as well. So I like where I'm seeing here. I like that this is potentially a reversal entry that I talk about. We're at the bottom of the overall price. So there's certainly potential up move from here. First kind of a target could be around the higher here for about 4% or so, but my main target is definitely up here at the beginning top, right? Beginning of this correction here. And definitely there might be scaling opportunity in the halfway through, depending on how the price reaches the high, if it's going to break out of this descending structure. Okay. So that is silver. Silver is, like I said, the only trade I'm running right now, right? Just get tagging about just before market closes. But again, just at the beginning here, I like the trade right now, so we'll see how that goes, right? And that's the only trade. Let's go on to the outlook for the remaining of this week. I mentioned about there's a few pairs that I'm watching for the remaining of the week. Let's go over any of these. And we can go over any pairs that you guys are watching as well. You feel free to type it in there if you want me to take a look, but please mention long or short. If you're looking for long on certain pair, type in long. If you're looking for short on certain pair, type in short as well. But I will start here, and as for my watch list, orange is the primary watch list. Those are the ones that I'm going to focus on. Green is more like a secondary watch list that I want to see a little bit more development on them. Okay. So I'm going to start with dollar index here. So dollar index here. My bias here is still potentially looking for a sell. I like where the price is at currently. If we kind of zoom out here a little bit, this is a double top that price is at right now, right? And we're seeing this kind of a expanding structure that it's in the making. I like how we have that ascending structure pushing the price up as well, right? And price didn't really break down here, but it's the same kind of outlook or same kind of bias, is that as long as we don't see price just kind of impulsively break to the upside followed by correction, then over here is still a possibility of a reversal, right? We see these kind of AM style pattern a lot as well. Double top here in the making. If price consolidate here and push up, then obviously no entry or no trade. But if we see this price breakdown here followed by correction later, then certainly this downside, because everything here is showing you bearish reversals, right? We see an ascending channel, we see an expanding structure, we see the higher time frame structure as well, and the higher time frame double top, right? So to me, all that is bearish confluence, bearish price action. So it will be nice to kind of wait for price to break down here followed by correction. That is still kind of how I will look at this. Remember, as traders, as consistent traders, we make forecasts, we make analysis, but we don't enter unless it is confirmed, right? So if the price doesn't push down, it doesn't form correction, then no entry, right? Don't let your ego control you, because I find a lot of traders let your ego control them, because like they're like, if the forecast doesn't work out, they get a little bit offended almost. They're like, well, why didn't my analysis work? Well, change that perspective. You should be happy that the trade didn't turn out to, or didn't develop into the sell, because then you didn't lose anything. You didn't get involved here to try to sell because there is no buyers to sell right away. So you basically save your 1% here, right? So it's all about your perspective. You can be upset that your forecast or your analysis doesn't work out, or you can be happy because you just save a unnecessary loss here. Okay, so that's dollar index. Let's take a look at a few dollar pairs. I have a few dollar pairs on watch. Hey buddy, appreciate it. Thank you very much, my friend. So what I see here is that I see the Aussie dollar here that could still give us a potential long, right? We're still like what we're seeing here. This is still a inverse head and shoulder that price is currently developing. Now this right shoulder here is a little bit tricky, right? We still see this as a potential larger right shoulder here. And now basically I like about how price has a kind of an impulse break, and then it looks like there is a continuation correction here. Now it basically gives you also a smaller version of a inverse head and shoulder as well, right? So this is good to see, because when the price is at the pretty much at the bottom here, you want to see some bullish activity, right? You want to see bullish price action or bullish reversal price action, because if our bias is for the long, then definitely we're looking for upside move, right? So that's kind of how I will kind of take a look at this, is that I'm waiting for this correction here to at least develop a little bit more. If it's going to, that might give us another opportunity to push the price higher. Now let's look at euro dollar and pound dollar. There seems to be kind of a debate on where the price may go, and it's the same kind of I guess analysis or same speech that I want to talk about, same as dollar index, right? Now I got these messages from yesterday, I believe, when the price is pushing down, and I guess some people maybe enter prematurely, but there is no entry, right? It's just exactly what I talk about from this part here, is that we need to see price breakout first, right? We need to see this breakout confirmation. Basically, if the price is still within this descending structure, there is no entry, right? Because we want to wait for that confirmation to push out here and confirmation correction. That's going to give us a better entry, just exactly where how I entered that previous entry, where everything line up together and we wait for that breakout, we wait for that continuation. That is your confirmation to push up the price. But if we don't get that, then there is no entry, right? There is no entry. You don't lose anything. You're not at a loss. So don't let the ego hurt you, or don't let that psychology, the mindset, emotion hurt you, because a lot of people, tends to get a little bit of FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. They feel like, well, if I don't enter here, this is going to take off without me. Well, no, right? Price is never going to shoot up in a straight line. So entering here when there is no confirmation of this descending channel that is finished is not likely a good sell. It's not likely a good setup, right? So in the same case here, we're still in this descending channel. We're still kind of in this overall correction on the higher time frame. So nothing changes from my point of view, is that I'm not looking for sell, but I'm looking for a buy setup that will happen, right? If this does push up here, maybe during the London session, and during New York session, we might get something like this, then that is something that I'll definitely enter. But if this kind of just consolidate, form a bearish correction to go lower, then I'm not interested in the sell, right? Because if you think about it, the sell has already happened, right? The sell has already happened from here, and from here if people was interested in the sell. But if we have to zoom out a little bit and look at where the price is at now, right? You have to factor in what's going on a higher time frame and lower time frame, which makes it multi-time frame analysis. We can't be too zoom in on the smaller time frame. Then if this is all the price action that we see on euro dollar, then yeah, you probably agree that this can continue lower. But all we need to do is just to zoom out a little bit more, then you understand that, well, we're at the bottom here, right? We're at the low of this price action. We had this strong bullish push to the upside, and this overall correction here is looking like it is a bullish continuation correction for this up move, right? So we're having a bullish, more of a bullish bias here. All that left is the lower time frame needs to give us a potential entry, a potential buy setups that's going to help us to push the price higher, right? So I'm not interested in the sell. The sell has already happened, right? We want to look for a buy setup, right? Because the buy is much, much, much more lucrative. It aligns with everything that we're looking at from a higher time frame perspective. So multi-time frame analysis, and that's why my bias here is leading towards a buy, right? So wait for this price to break out, wait for that continuation correction. Similar setup like here, right? Exactly the similar buy approach. And as the price continue to develop like this, the more likely that we're going to see a really sharp impulsive move to the upside. Right? So that's euro dollar. Let's look at pound dollar here. Someone mentioned about pound dollar sell. Now, personally, I'm more leaning towards a buy, right? Like my personal bias here is leaning towards a buy. Similar like euro dollar here. This is because when we see that price break this low, right? This low or this low, we really didn't get further continuation downside, right? This is kind of a sign from the market is that, well, price break down the low, good. This is a really sharp impulsive move, right? We see that. But is the impulsive move followed by any type of correction, any type of continuation correction to go lower? No, we didn't get that, right? If we even zoom in a little bit more, is that you see this consolidation, you see this push down and then correct and push down, but this area does not give us further downside. It basically gives you a reversal up move. So what does this look like more? This almost looks like an inverse head and shoulder, right? And this was a proper reversal kind of a setup. And I like how we basically reverse up from this point. And judging by what's going on here, if we just get a little bit more consolidation here, this to me is more leaning towards an upside move. And if we look at the higher time frame here, if we zoom out here, that we're still in this larger structure, we're still at the low of here, right? Unless price just breaks this previous low and then form bearish continuation to go lower, this is more towards an upside move in my opinion. We're still in this kind of a descending structure and within the higher time frame structure as well. So certainly if we get a little bit of consolidation, I do expect price to at least hit the high here, and then we'll kind of reevaluate to see if we're going to get further upside or not. But at this point, I personally don't really see any bearish kind of point of view, unless this consolidation forms into something like this and then drop down. That is a possibility, right? But again, we're looking for bullish bias. That means that if the bearish bias is happening, if there is no bullish development, then no entry, right? We just be on the sideline. We wait for other opportunities to give us. Okay, so that is my take on pound dollar. I'm gonna go over dollar peso, which is the last dollar that I have here. I like the similar kind of a dollar weakness here. I like how we have a potential double top in the area. We have a really nice structure here after this bearish push to the downside. We just basically correct all the way up to the top again, but this is a double top now. And when we look zooming a little bit closely here, a little bit of price here, right? We have this really sharp to the upside and then a sharp move to the downside. So are we going to get continuation here? That's going to at least confirm another downside move on the price. I certainly do like where we are right now. I like that double top here. I like the correction that we're in. A potential move to the downside, judging by what's going on here at the top, is possible. But again, if you're going to choose any of the dollar pairs, it's best again to choose $1 or $2 pairs, right? It doesn't make sense to enter all the dollar pairs at the same time. So it's best to choose 1 or 2, the best one, right? So again, it's a filtering process, right? Made several videos about how to filtering, but I think it's very important to filter trading opportunities, right? If you're going to look at dollar pairs, if you look at yen pairs, it's best to just choose 1 or 2. All right. Any question here, guys, on any of the dollar pairs or any dollar pairs you would want me to take a look? I will definitely go over any other pairs that you guys are looking at. So I see Euro CAD long, I see CAD Yen long, Kiwi Yen short, Pound Kiwi. Are you looking at Pound Kiwi sell or Pound Kiwi long? Be nice to include long or short so I can see your perspective on it as well. But any other pairs that you guys want me to take a look at, just put in long or short. I can certainly take a look at it and then we can discuss together. Pound Kiwi short, good. That's exactly what I'm looking at as well for a short. Yeah, pound dollar, I just went over that, my friend. I just went over that, right? Not sure if you were on or not, but pound dollar, I just went over that. So I'll quickly go over again. Personally, I'm more leaning towards a buy. Now, I kind of mentioned that I see this sell really impulsive to a downside, but just really didn't see continuation here. So again, it's depending on what this area will do where the price is at right now. Right, so if we, I would prefer to see a little bit more consolidation here. That could potentially lead to another bullish kind of price action here. That will give us a potential buy. Now I see some of you guys are looking for sell. Again, nothing wrong here, right? If you're looking for sell, I think you'll probably want to wait for this consolidation to finish, right? If you're looking for sell, right? That's kind of how I see this as well. If you have a sell bias here, then this has to be some sort of right shoulder for this potential head and shoulder as well. But again, this is more in the middle, right? Because what I prefer is when you see head and shoulder at the top here, not when it's about halfway through the price. So a little bit contradicting, but this is why we wait for confirmation. I mentioned this in my Telegram earlier, is that if you're looking for buy bias, you wait for the buy bias to develop and then complete so that you can enter a buy, right? Whereas if someone's looking for sell, then you're going to look for the sell bias and wait for the sell bias to complete and then look for the sell. So rarely you're going to get both buy and the sell bias to develop at the same time. Rarely, right? So again, follow our plan. Some people are looking for sell, then wait for the sell entry to develop. Some people are looking for buy, then wait for the buy entry to develop, right? I think that is the best case scenario for any traders to be consistent with themselves and with their plan. Okay, so that's pound dollar. Let's move on to a few yen pairs. Some of you guys are looking at a few yen pairs, so we'll go over the yen pairs. I post a few yen pairs here. My overall bias here is more leaning towards a few of them needs development, right? So similar like on Monday when I did the weekly outlook, I was mentioning about Aussie Yen. I think Aussie Yen is decent if we get a push up from the price. again, I get these messages from people, kind of asking like, should I be selling here when there's a head and shoulder? And I mentioned, well, it's kind of like in the middle of nowhere, right? We're gonna see price action structures and patterns kind of anywhere, any time frame, but it doesn't always necessarily work out. And in this case, you can see the head and shoulder push down here, but quickly just reverse back up afterwards, right? And now price, someone messaging me, well, it's at the double top now, are we going to sell? Again, we have to understand how price usually will work. You would want to see double top when it's at the top of the overall price, when there's a previous high that is very noticeable. That's going to give you a better opportunity, a better probability of looking for a sell. So for me here is, I'm not really interested when the price is in the middle here. I will be more interesting if the price does move up correctively, preferably move up correctively to the top here. And then looking for the sell from the top here would just give you much better risk reward, because if you sell from somewhere here, price can easily just hit the bottom here and then reverse back up. And do you even have enough risk reward here for potential 3-to-1 position? Again, depending on your stop loss and all that. But I personally won't be looking for anything here. I would just like to see price to move up one more time here and then look for the sell here. Would just be a much better entry, and it will fit my plan as well. So let's move on here. Challenge phase, FTMO, any advice? I mean, isn't phase 2 usually easier than phase 1? My understanding is that. Isn't phase 2 a little bit linear than phase 1? That's my understanding as well. So, I mean, at the end of the day, guys, it's about consistency, right? Whatever you do, whether you're trading in the prop firms or whether you're trading your own money, it's consistency over and over again, right? So be consistent before thinking about profit, because the profit will come if you're consistent. But if you're not consistent, it really doesn't matter if you're trading your own money or trading with prop firm or whatever the case scenario may be. If you're not consistent, then all that is not going to help you, right? So if you're consistent during your phase 1 already, then you will be consistent for your phase 2, right? So yeah, definitely looking at Solana as well. I will definitely look at that as well as we continue here, but it's gonna be a little bit later if you don't mind. It's gonna go over after Forex, commodity, indices, and crypto in that sense. Now Aussie Yen, I see someone mention Aussie Yen long. Personally, I'm more leaning towards a sell here. Here's my reasoning. Now I see more this as a head and shoulder here at the top of the overall price, so higher time frame here, double top. I see this more as a head and shoulder rather than an upside move. But again, it's kind of depending on what this right shoulder will develop, right? Now, why I'm more leaning towards a sell is because I like how we're at this potential double top, and this potentially is a structure that we're in the making. You notice that there is a few sell that I personally did as well that captured pretty good profit, but they just never kind of continue the downside. But every time when the price is at the top again, and when I start seeing these type of reversal kind of correction, it's very nice to see, right? You want to see this type of reversal. It's almost like a rising wedge. So I think a push down from the price followed by a continuation here would be nice to see. Now, I understand also some of you guys are potentially looking at this as a long, and maybe you draw the structure like this, and you felt this is a up move, and this was a first correction. Now that would be nice, but if you look closely here, there's not too much up move after that, right? If this was the correction that you enter or some of you guys were looking at, I really didn't see the up move or the impulsive move followed by this correction at this given moment. All right, so I'm more leaning towards a sell here. I'm more leaning towards that with the higher time frame and the lower time frame development. Of course, again, this is the same thing we talk about on euro dollar and pound dollar, is that if some of you guys are looking for long, then I would prefer the price to break higher and then form correction to get involved, right? Because this to me is more of a bearish reversal correction, and if this pushed down followed by a correction, I'm more leaning towards a sell here from my personal point of view. So moving on here to Swiss Yen. So Swiss Yen, same thing as Monday, right? Same thing as Monday. Again, I saw people looking for sell here when there was a head and shoulder pattern. Again, it's in the middle of kind of nowhere, right? Like this to me, like some people might think of it as a top, sure, but that's all it is, right? Head and shoulder in the middle of nowhere may or may not give you the probability of working out. Remember, guys, you're gonna see price action anywhere, any time frame. Once again, and seeing the head and shoulder doesn't guarantee it's going to see sell, and seeing the head and shoulder at the top doesn't guarantee it's a sell either, but it just gives you a higher probability when the head and shoulder is at the top. We have double top here, top of the overall expanding structure. It adds extra confluence to look for a sell, right? So understand that it's not that these head and shoulder will not work out. Everything you do in trading is probability, right? So some in a probability sense, there's some percentage of the time this will work out for you, and some it will not. But we as price action trader need to do a lot more than that, right? You need to do a lot more than that. We need to increase our probability of success, right? We need to increase our probability of profitable trades because we want to be profitable at the end of the month. So do more than that, right? We can't just see a head and shoulder and start shorting. We would prefer the head and shoulder is at the top when there's extra confluence that's going to help you, and that basically strengthen your overall analysis for yourself. Okay, so Swiss Yen, same idea. I'm not really interested when the price is in this area. And if we dig a little bit deeper here, you can see the head and shoulder here really didn't work out. Instead, we push up here, and what is it that it's doing? Well, it's almost looking like we're forming into like a bullish flag here, right? So impulse up correction, will this push up higher? Preferably, right? I want to see the price push up, and I really won't be interested in the buy either because I think this is just going to be a short-term push up, and it might even likely to move up correctively. So I'm not interested in the buy, but I will be interested in the sell when the price does reach this high here. So probably still going to take some days to develop into that, but that is definitely the one that I am looking at for remaining of the week or maybe on to next week as well. Okay. Good trade copier. I don't know what that means. Good trade copier that you can recommend. I'm not sure. Do you mean signal that you can copy? I'm not sure what you mean exactly. But I don't use anything like that, so I wouldn't know. Now let's continue here. I saw Euro CAD long. I'll make sure to go over that. And I saw CAD Swiss short. I'll go over that as well. So let's talk about Euro Aussie here. Euro Aussie did break down, right? We did see this head and shoulder, which is the higher time frame head and shoulder, and a little bit choppy here, but the price did end up going down, right? We did push down pretty much to this low here, so we're at the potential target now. But I think there's still more downside that can happen here, right? This is the previous low. Price did push down to the low here. Didn't really move down impulsively, but it moved down to the low here. So I think it's a good idea to wait for the price to break out and then continuation after. I think that is decent to spot. We also completed this head and shoulder on the higher time frame. We have the higher time frame double top as well. So all that really adds confluence for this sell to continue as long as we get further downside from the price. EuroCAD long. EuroCAD long. I think I mentioned, I think it was last week or maybe beginning of the week. I wasn't really interested in the sell here, but we're at this previous low now, right? So this is the area where you want to be careful, is that whether or not we're going to get a potential reversal from this low, right? This is at the previous low, but I'm not really seeing any bullish yet. Where potentially this is a descending structure, and haven't break out of the price, haven't done anything yet. We're just kind of correctively moved down within this descending channel. But it's nice to see this because this usually gives you a sense that the bearish momentum is potentially exhausted. And if you can get, something a bullish push off on the price and continuation, then certainly that is good to see. That could confirm the upside. But whether or not this is enough to reverse what was already pushed down is another potential, right? We don't know if this bearish move down is this all we need for the price to start reversing, or are we going to get further consolidation here? So personally, I'm not really interested in the buy here. I can see your buy confluence or maybe your buy potential. I just don't know if this smaller correction here is enough to push up the price. Yeah, indices I will definitely look at after. So there's some euro dollar and dollar ZAR. Euro dollar I went over earlier, right? So euro dollar, my bias here is I'm looking for long, right? But again, I'm not buying just because I see some bearish, bullish candle or whatever, right? I'm waiting for the price to break out, right? Impulsively break out of the descending structure and then continuation here. That is my entry if it happens. If it does not, then I don't lose anything, right? If this kind of start correcting here and drop down, then so be it, right? I'm not interested in the sell, right? The sell has already happened, right? The sell should already happen from the top here, right? So if we didn't enter the sell, we shouldn't be entering the sell at the bottom here, right? Especially when the price is on the higher time frame is showing you that a potential reversal is very likely, right? We've seen this as a larger structure. So I'm personally not interested in the sell. I'm only looking for the buy if it develops. Dollar ZAR, 1 hour time frame for 50 minutes. Yeah, I mean, some of you guys are looking at this as well, and I'm more leaning towards the sell, right? I'm assuming that's what you're looking at. I look at this as more of a sell potential, right? Price push up already, and then we're just forming a smaller ascending channel and then price push down, and then we basically form another potential kind of a flag or channel, however you want to call this. And on the lower time frame, what do we get here? Well, if we get a little bit of consolidation here, I think that is potential a sell setup to the low here or this previous low as well, depending on how your stop loss is. That is something to look at. Personally though, I more leaning towards the euro dollar trade or position that is looking a little bit more cleaner to me. But in reality, if the dollar is going to get weakened, then certainly this area here can continue to the downside. So good. So let's continue here. Euro Kiwi. What's my opinion on trading on Monday and Friday? I keep hearing people say that they don't trade on those days. Um, it's a preference, my friend. There's nothing wrong with trading on Monday to Friday. I think what you're trying to say is when Monday opens, people don't jump in the trade right away, and when Friday closes, people don't hold the trade through the weekend. Well, I always hold the trade through the weekend. I don't think I've ever not hold the trade through the weekend. If you ever really want to like catch any of the impulsive move, like something like this, if you want to catch an impulsive move, you have to hold through the weekend. It's impossible not to hold through a weekend if you ever want to catch these impulsive moves in the market, right? So, but you know, that's everyone has different strategy and different styles, so it's not right and wrong. Some people just prefer not to, and some people do, right? It's just up to your perspective and your trading strategy or trading style, right? There's no difference. But one thing is for sure is if you decide to do one thing, then don't jump back and forth. This is what a lot of inconsistent traders do is they jump back and forth. Today they decide to do this, tomorrow they decide to do that, right? Well, this is trading, right? Has to be strictly rules and management and plan that you follow. You don't just make impulsive decision out of nowhere because that's not gonna help you in the long run, right? Um, Bought some crypto on Coinbase, realized the bank account was unlinked, and it won't let me unlink. Your bank account was unlinked and it won't let you unlink. What do you mean? The bank was linked, that it won't let you unlink, or the bank was unlinked and won't let you link, right? There was a typo there, Julian. What are you saying here? Is your bank account linked and it won't let you unlink? Or do you say the bank account was unlinked and it won't let you link? right? Which one of that is that, right? There's a typo there. So let's continue if I get some answers back. But Euro Kiwi here, more leaning towards a sell, right? To me, this is the overall sell bias to the downside. Sell correction here, and we push down again. Looks like there's another continuation here. So this can easily push down again, but it's a little bit odd because there's a little bit push to the upside and a push down, but we're still in this correction here. So my general bias here is still leaning towards a sell here to push down the price to the previous low. Now, pound Kiwi here. Someone mentioned about pound Kiwi, right? And I'm also looking at pound Kiwi sell as well. Personally, definitely looking for a sell. Definitely not looking for a buy here. Overall price to me is more bearish, right? We have the push to the downside. This is a higher time frame structure here. If we look closely, we have a break to the downside, and we follow by correction here. If you look at how sharp this has moved down, this move has moved down quite a bit already, right? About 700 pips or so, right? So pretty big move, right? So naturally, price after a big move, it will have to correct, right? Which is what it's doing, but this can easily lead to another impulsive move. So I'm kind of looking at this right now. I'm looking at this correction here. Is that I like how there is a push to the upside, and then instead of continuation, it's a reversal down. Looks like a bearish correction here. So if all that lines up and we're at the top of this correction, we just had a large impulsive move. So looking for downside, even just to the low here, can give you good risk reward here. And if this is the time where the next impulsive move will happen, then certainly holding the trade down to the next low or even the bottom of here is likely and it is possible. Okay, so that's pound Kiwi. Okay, yeah, that's what I mean by Julian. There was so your bank was on link, and then you have to link it because I have pending transaction. It won't let me relink my bank. I mean, that happens sometimes. And have you contact their support, right? Because this is usually like a deposit withdrawal account kind of issues where you should contact them for that, right? Um, Speaking of this topic, because we're on the topic of crypto and withdrawal, people usually have these withdrawal issues, and honestly, I never had issues ever with withdrawing money from any of my brokers. There's things that you should do to make sure that it's a smooth process. Like for me, well, my situation is a little bit different, but everything I trade from is from a business account, right? So you open a business account with Forex brokers, with crypto brokers. You can open business accounts, and you're trying to get their pro account or their premium account, whatever. You have to deposit substantial amount of money, but usually you want to get to their highest tier of account, and you verify everything, and you make sure you deposit money from a bank wire, and you make sure you withdraw the money from a bank wire, right? So every time when I withdraw money, I never had any issues with any of the brokers I use, right? People usually often run into issues is when they deposit with the method, let's say method A, and they withdraw with method B. Well, that's not going to work usually because they want to make sure you're withdrawing into the same account or the same person or the same entity, right? Sometimes you deposit with a credit card that was a gift card or something, or you deposit with like a third party, let's say Skrilled or something like that, right? A third party thing, and then you're trying to withdraw with a totally different account, and usually that locks it up, or that's something that will happen, right? And that's usually the case. So think about what I mentioned, right? Try to deposit and withdraw the exact same method. That usually will solve any type of issues, right? So okay, so that's pound Kiwi. Let's go over Aussie Kiwi, right? Aussie Kiwi. I did end up closing these two positions because of the stop loss that I had. So I end up with pretty much break even with the two position here. But again, this pretty much looks like we did form that continuation and price continued to push up now. So see, some of you guys are still holding this one, so good job on your part. And basically the same target remains, right? You want to basically see the price to hit this high here, and we did have a continuation. So another upside here is very possible. Right, so I do still have this on my watch because I could reasonably expect if we still get consolidation here, I think another upside move is fine, but is there enough risk reward, right, depending on the stop loss and depending on what kind of price action it give me. But the overall bias here is definitely for a upside move, and I do see that developing at this as we speak. Cat Swiss, I think someone mentioned Cat Swiss sell. I do agree the bias here is a sell. Now I do see the sell. I do think this is a impulsive move, and we're in this kind of a larger correction here, and we basically have this price basically hit to the previous high here, which is nice, right? And we look closely here, there is something developing here, right? Some sort of a structure here. So that's all good, right? If as long as you feel price push down here, maybe a first continuation correction that forms, I think selling here is ideal, is fine. Depending on where your target may be, maybe the low of this correction. I think that's fine. Sorry, my computer is a little bit laggy here. I think that's fine looking for the sell down to the low here, but you just have to wait for confirmation here, or you wait for price to kind of break out here and then form a correction after breakout. I think that's fine entry as well, probably safer if you wait for this entry as well. Okay. So that is Cat Swiss. Any other pair, guys? Any other pairs on Forex that you are looking at, or anything that I missed? I think I went over all the pairs that was mentioned in the chat. But if I miss anything, you're welcome to let me know. How to select lot size in Oanda? Oanda automatically calculates your lot size, so I'm not sure what you mean, because Oanda automatically calculates any of my CFD, so contract for difference, any of my indices, any of my commodities. When I enter them, it automatically calculates my stop loss. So I just need to input my stop loss, and I just need to put in the position size so I know how much to risk. You should not use MT4 to do that. You should have the actual Oanda app, right? Use the actual Oanda app to buy and sell rather than MT4. MT4 is just too old and too 10, 15 years ago technology. It's really not, it's like obsolete to me. I really wouldn't recommend people use MT4 unless there's no choice. Unless that broker that you're using only let you use MT4, then so be it, right? But in today's age, there's brokers all integrate their own app, which is just going to be a better version than MT4. So I would suggest use the broker's actual broker app. That would be a better usage. Okay. All right, so let's continue here. Let's go to commodities now if there's no other question here. Commodities, I'm looking at oil, silver, and gold. Someone mentioned about gold. Yep, we can take a look. I mean, I'm more leaning towards a sell, actually. I'm more seeing this as a sell, personally. Looks more like a falling wedge to me, and we have a kind of an impulse out, depending on what's going to happen here. Now, there's probably a few people looking at this as a head and shoulder, and then really you see the head and shoulder didn't really play out here. Again, it's the same example I mentioned, right? You're going to see head and shoulders, but they're the best when it's at the top of the price action and together with other confluence. Whereas a head and shoulder in the middle of nowhere usually doesn't give you the better probability. Personally, I'm more leaning towards a sell. I'm more seeing this as a sell development rather than a buy development. So this push up here, if this consolidate a little bit longer, to me this can easily push up to the next high here. I'm not really seeing the sell bias here. I'm not sure if you don't mind sharing a screenshot of your end. I can see what you mean, but I don't really see the sell right now. Like, I don't see this as a sell. I see more as Price push down from here. This was the previous sell that a lot of people take, but it falls into more of a bullish reversal. Right, I would rather see this bullish reversal at the bottom here, but in this case, it kind of hits this previous low, and it's pushing up here. So, but at this point, I'm not really into buying or selling gold right now. I think it's kind of in the middle here. So anything goes, but I'm more leaning towards a buy bias here. Now, if we look at silver, silver to me was a much better, cleaner price. Went over this in the beginning because we're at the low here, right? We're at the bottom here. We have a double bottom here, and we have descending structure. We have a inverse head and shoulder. All this looks much better than gold, where it's kind of in the middle here, right? So that's why I went long on silver, because it looks much cleaner for me to look for an entry like this, right? Just set the entry order above the high here, and I like how we have an inverse head and shoulder, so I stop loss just below here, right? So it's just gonna tag me here and just hovering around here for now. I'm looking to see if we can get price to push up to the next high here, or even possible the second target would be the highs of this correction, but this is going to take, you know, probably 1 or 2 weeks minimum to even hit that, right? So we're just going to monitor to see how this area would be first. So that's silver. I do want to talk about oil as well. I think oil is also at a place where we could potentially look for something here. And this is kind of where the previous high was, right? You can notice this was the previous high where the sell has happened very strongly. And honestly, we're forming similar structures here. You can see price push down here and then push up, breaking above the high here and just to push down again. And it's the same area here, right? We push down, and then we push up again above the previous high, and then potentially a sell can happen just like this. And we're also at this higher time frame double top. So to confirm everything, we go down to the lower time frame, right? So lower time frame here also have a smaller lower time frame, kind of a double top here, and we have a ascending structure as well. So again, you're seeing structures within structures, patterns within patterns, and you have the higher time frame bias to kind of back you up as well. So to me, I'm going to look for a price to kind of break down here, and then if there is continuation, I'm looking for the sell setups here to push down the price to the bottom here. I think the sell looks much more cleaner because the buy has already happened, right? If you miss the buy all the way from the bottom, you shouldn't be buying when the price is at the previous high now, right? That's basically going against what the higher time frame would say. I'm more leaning towards a sell here, even just down to the low here. I think that would be great to see. And if we do get a full-on reversal, just like what we have seen in the past, then another down move here is possible, right? Now, people often say like, oh, the news says the oil is going up, blah, 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 blah. I personally don't really look at news, especially from a news agency news, right? A lot of things are fabricated and manipulated, right? So who is right and who is wrong once again, right? So it's up to you if you want to incorporate fundamental analysis into your trading. But if when you incorporate fundamental, make sure the sources are right? Not just from a CNN news or something like that, where a lot of things they're just getting paid to say, right? So don't follow things blindly without doing a little bit more extra research, right? Anybody can say, okay, the dollar is getting stronger. Okay, the dollar is getting stronger, and then they enter dollar pairs to go, strength in dollar, and then it reverses because some technical aspect, right? So always do your own research when it comes to something like this, and don't just blindly follow or take trades based on what other people are saying, right? That's why I don't recommend signals and anything like that. It really doesn't help a trader to be a better trader, because all that trader does is buying and selling according to a signal, and they have no idea why they buy and why they sell and how they manage it. And the moment that signal provider is no longer there, and that trader is back to square one because they haven't improved anything, they haven't grown any skills or knowledge wise, they just kind of blindly follows here and there, right? As a trader, ultimately your job is to trade your account. Nobody's going to trade your account for you, right? So you understand, if you're trading your own account, you need to take ownership, and you need to increase your level of your knowledge, level of your experience. That's going to help you in the long run. All right, so that's my point on oil is I'm more leaning towards a sell, right? So I'll be waiting for something like this to develop, and I'll be looking for a sell bias down. Okay. Structure is king. Yep. That is always what I think, right? I mean, various people have various perspective in trading, and over the years of me trading, I kind of get to a conclusion where you don't need to convince others that yours is the best and theirs is the worst. But I often find newer traders or traders who are not consistent yet, they often kind of argue against other traders who don't use their strategy or who don't agree with their method. Everybody's entitled to how they trade, right? So you don't necessarily have to convince others that yours is better or theirs is worse or whatever. At the end of the day, stick to your strategy that works for you, right? Backtest your strategy, work on your chart work on your mindset and emotion. And if you're doing good, if you're doing profitable, let the result speak for itself rather than just a blind argument with one another, right? So often I get disagreement with whatever I show or whatever I post in TradingView or YouTube or Telegram, whatever, right? People are going to go against what you're saying. That's fine, right? There's no point, there's no need to argue with them anymore. It's just everybody has their own perspective on trading. So let that be, right? And then focus on yourself, focus on your plan. Because if your plan's been working out, then follow your plan accordingly. Okay, so we went over all the commodities, guys. Any question here? If not, we're going to talk about indices really quick. I did see a few indices on watch, US 30, US 100. Yeah, I'll go over all the US indices as always. But if there was any question on commodities, you're welcome to let me know before we continue here. So let's continue here on indices now. I'm just gonna focus on the three major US indices, which is usually what I focus on. Now, I think I mentioned where it's a little bit consolidation on a lower time frame. I don't think there's not much development here, and I think it's the same still here. Now, you can see this during this last couple of days, right? You can see this push down from the price, and then we push up and then push down, push up, push up, push down. It's just a lot of impulse up, impulse down, impulse up, impulse down. What is this telling you? Well, it's telling you that there is a consolidation here. And consolidation is good because it usually leads to another impulse and move. But in this case, you have to be careful because, well, let's say for Dow Jones here, which is US 30, this is the previous low, right? You can see price basically hit this previous low and then bounce up from the previous low, right? We basically hit this previous low from higher time frame here, and then it becomes a lower time frame double bottom here. Price basically could not push lower, instead is a push up here, and not much developing here, right? This is a consolidation here, but it's too early to think this is going to go down right away, right? What you want to wait for here, in my opinion, is at least this consolidation to finish, because this can go on a little bit longer. We don't know how long it will go. And don't right away assume that has to be continuation just because this move has happened. We also have to see that we had the bottom here, and this consolidation sometimes eventually lead to a more of a neutral correction, more just like sideways like this, and then eventually kind of push up from the price. Okay, so just be careful on something like this. When I see something like this, a lot of impulse up, impulse down, impulse up, impulse down, I want to just be a little bit more observative when it comes to something like this. US S&P 500, same thing, right? You can see that it's forming the same kind of structure, right? We talk about that on Dow Jones as well. Price did impulse out of the correction though, right? This is what we want to see originally. We did push up here. It's just this area here, it's a little bit indecisive. Now, breaking above the high here is good, it's okay. But if this just kind of continue up more and more and more, then it's not, because this becomes a reversal correction to go higher, which is kind of what it is potentially doing right now, right? We kind of hit this previous low, and then we just didn't really continue much anymore, and we just consolidate here a lot longer. So be careful. Same scenario like Dow Jones, where we can just kind of push up here and then form a little bit of correction and then continue high to the next high here. Okay, and last one I want to go over is Nasdaq. So Nasdaq here, again, we did see the price push down, which is what we want to see, but this is the at the bottom here, right? This is the initial target where we're going to be careful, because you can see that every time when the price hit the bottom here, they almost always reverse back up, right? So what does that tell you? Well, the structure potentially is not over. Every time when we hit the bottom, likelihood that we're going to make another up move, and structures just continue to evolve, right? But continuation evolving is fine, because it just gives you a more higher probability that this ascending structure will eventually break down. It's just that it may not do it this time, it might do it the next time when this push up once more to the top here, and then looking for the sell on the top is definitely a good valid area. And I often get asked about, well, will you be considered a buy here to the top? No, because again, I don't like to trade against the higher time frame, because the higher time frame is looking more as a ascending structure, and we know that is reversal in nature, right? So even if this move pushes up to the top, I'm not interested in this short-term buy, but when it's at the top again, looking for the sell is definitely something that I will do. Okay, so for as of now, really not interested in anything right now. If we dig a little bit deeper here, again, it's that same kind of impulse up and down a little bit, so hard to see what's going on here. But one thing is for certain is that we're not basically breaking out the structure here, right? You can see this ascending structure. We're just not breaking out of this yet, right? We're still in this larger, higher time frame ascending structure, and we're showing signs of slowing down from the bearish movement. So a potential reversal is very possible, right? Because we're just not breaking out of here, right? And we have seen every time when the price hits the low, is just not continue down further after. So that's something that we have to keep in the back of our head. It's knowing that price can easily reverse up once more, right? So be careful in this kind of sense. So any question here, guys, for the indices? And then if not, we're gonna go to crypto after. All right, so let's continue here, guys. Let's look at a few crypto. I did see someone ask me about Solana. I'll definitely look at Solana, not a problem. Solana is actually one that I'm looking at as well. So let's go in order here. Let's look at AVE, right? AAVE. I still see this as a potential up move from the price, right? We're seeing this larger structure in the making. There's a little bit of reversal correction after this down move. So while we're still in this larger correction, I still reasonably think there is an up move potential. Especially we have pushed up quite a bit already. This is a larger structure, and we basically had another impulsive move up now, right? So looking at this as a potential bullish correction to push the price higher. Now, we can look at a few more examples here. A few more other crypto. I think Cardano is also kind of shaping up for another push up on the price. Now you can see Cardano has been pushing up since, right? This is just a bullish up move on the price. There's a few buy setups along the way. We hit about $3 here and kind of just pushed down afterwards. Now we're not likely to break below $2 now, right? You can see this was the previous low. We kind of form a bottom here. Price basically is not pushing down below $2, right? It's kind of the same thing in around this area when it's around hovering around the $1 area, where price is just never going down past $1. And in this case, it's the same idea. Price isn't going down lower than $2. So this is all good, because this to me is forming into more of a bullish price. this is a clear impulse up, right? And this is more like a consolidation. So this can be a little bit of correction to push higher, or you can wait for a price to push up higher first and then look for a continuation after to the high here. And if this move will kick off the next impulsive move, then certainly breaking the high here is very possible. Miss which broker is better, MT4? What do you mean by better, MT4? Let's talk about Bitcoin now. So I saw quite a bit number of you guys bought Bitcoin here. So good job on your part to follow. I remember last outlook that I did on Monday. On Monday, we talk about Bitcoin for being upside here. This was on Monday, right? So this was the consolidation here. And overnight, it had that really strong push to the upside. So very good job. I saw quite a bit of you guys message me, private message me, or in the group chat that you guys caught this buy move. So good. Price push up here above this previous high. That's good, right? So further upside here is very possible. But I think waiting for a correction, just like a correction here, is going to help you to kick off to the next high here, or even at the all-time high here, right? This is the all-time high where the price is at. So if another consolidation here, that's going to give us another potential entry to the high here. I think that is legitimate. And just be careful one thing though, because this move is quite sharp. So sometimes we might not just form a smaller correction, we might form a deeper consolidation. But the deeper consolidation is just correcting the previous up move, and another up move afterwards is very likely. So that is Bitcoin. Let's talk about Dogecoin, because few people ask me about this as well, and I think Doge is looking pretty clean as well. Originally had all these buy potential. I remember I got buy here, I personally, and price push up and then push down once again. Didn't really break this previous low though, so it kind of falling to a falling wedge, and price impulsively up. And this was the first kind of a sign of a correction here. That will be your first potential entry. But I think once price push up here, another consolidation here can easily lead to another buy move to the top. And that's something that is considerate to be look out for. Moving on to Solana. Someone asked about Solana, right? Definitely looking for a buy potential. If we look closely here into Solana, I think buy here is very, very reasonable. This is just an overall strong impulsive move. This is a larger correction in the making, and we finally have another impulsive move breaking up. So forming another correction here. So I do think if it breaks out here, pushing to the previous all-time high is very possible, or even possible continuation afterwards. So Solana definitely looks pretty clean for further upside. We have seen Solana move up quite a lot throughout since the beginning of the year, right? It was literally not much, right? So starting from this year, January, right? Can you see that it's like amazing? In literally within a year, it went up by about this much, right? 60,000%, right? I can't even compute what that is or how that is possible, but that is what's going on, right? So further upside is very possible, guys, right? It's just like, it's one of those things where it has good market cap, it has good usage. It's one of the higher market cap, right? If I can recall. It's one of the top 5 now, if I'm not mistaken, right? Top 6, yeah, same idea, but it really rose up to this point very, very fast, right? You can see it's already top 6, and it's en route to pretty much beat Ripple and anything else above it, right? The top 3 is still going to be Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Cardano, but you can see it's pretty much en route to beat Ripple now in terms of market cap, right? It's just a matter of time, and it's one of those ones that could easily become the next Ethereum. Okay, so that's definitely something that I will look out for. I do have Solana coins that I bought as an investment, and I'm also planning to trade them as well. Okay, so I do think there is good opportunity here. Just waiting for the right setups here. And if we just kind of zoom out here on a higher time frame, you can see from the beginning it's literally less than $1 a year and a half ago, right? A year and a half ago is less than $1. Push up, correction, push up, correction, push up. Maybe this is enough correction to go higher, or maybe we might get a bigger consolidation. Either or, I think holding the coin here for long term is definitely a good investment, right? Depending on what crypto broker exchange you use, right? Some exchange let you stake the money. Kraken let you stake it, so I stake all my Solana coins just for a longer term hold, right? So, did I miss anything? Oh, yeah, a lot of you guys are looking at this, right? So, wow, this already pushed up massively already. So probably a lot of you guys are looking at this because this is exactly kind of what we talk about is an impulse down to the price and consolidation, correction, and leads to another impulse, right? So was there any lower time frame impulse and move? Yeah. Lower time frame buy, lower time frame buy, lower time frame buy, right? Kind of exactly what I mentioned on Monday when someone asked me about this. So if you look at where the price is at, right, you have a sharp impulse down, reversal correction, and then another impulse up, right? So naturally you expect this to continue higher. You just have to wait for lower time frame correction, just like what I did exactly here. You point out 3 corrections here. If this continued to push up, likely there's going to be another consolidation, and you can buy here again, right? So depending on what exchange and broker offer this, right? If not all the ones offer it, right? I mean, look at this. Except Binance, I don't see Coinbase. I don't. Oh, I do see Coinbase. Sorry. So few opportunities here, right? If you're into this, Honey Swap, I remember this. So, right. So, definitely looking for more upside here. Any other crypto, guys? Any other crypto that I miss that I have not answered or go over? I think I went over all the ones that was asked by me, but if I miss anything, let me know. If not, feel free to have a quick Q&A. If anybody have any questions for me, I'm happy to go over any questions. Or if you're new watching all my streams, I do this twice a week. I do the streams twice a week on Monday and Wednesday usually. So I always save all my streams on YouTube and TradingView as well. So you can watch me on TradingView or YouTube. I try to save all the stream if I can, so it's all here. In my YouTube videos, I explain everything about price action structures and patterns from top to finish. All these are about continuation, reversal corrections, any type of structures, any type of corrections that you want to learn. Basically all the videos here explains exactly what I do and what I look out for in the market. So you're welcome to learn for free. In these workshops, I go over all the price action stuff that I talk about, from beginner stuff to more advanced stuff such as evolving structures and things like that. And in my Telegram, this is where I post all my links to my streams and all the pairs that I'm looking at ahead, all my educational videos, all my results, things like that. This is what I do. I don't post any ads. I don't sell you anything here, so you're welcome to subscribe for free of those, right? Yeah, so any pair, any question for me, guys? I know it's during the Asia session, it's not the same as during the New York time when there's a lot more people, but I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Anything about trading or anything outside of trading, anything you want me to ask me about, I'm happy to answer as long as that my knowledge knows. Good midnight. Yep. Good night, buddy, if you're going to sleep. Do I think Shiba will go up? Yeah, we just went over that earlier, I think. I mean, it's already going up, and I'm pointing out a few entries, right? There was a few entries here that I think I pointed out on Monday when I was asked me in my Monday weekly outlook. We went over a few uh, up move from the price. Yeah, sorry guys, my screen froze a little bit. I have too many app program open, that's probably why. So just give me a second here, just let it unload a little bit, and then I will go over that. So Shiba, right? I think there is a lot of lower time frame correction here already, right? So you can see there's a correction here, and then there's a correction here, and then there's a correction here as well, right? So these are all correction here. Now, if we look at the higher time frame, you basically see that this is an impulse down, and then this is a larger kind of a correctional period, and then price impulsing up again, right? So certain further upside is possible. It's just you have to wait for corrections, lower time frame corrections, and it's really really fast because here you barely see what's going on here on the higher time frame, but you see a little bit cleaner when it's on the lower time frame, right? So it's up to your risk, of course. If you feel like there's more up move, then you just wait for the same type of consolidation here on the lower time frame to buy. Any good source for deep dive into technical analysis? Yeah, my videos, my friend. If you want to watch, it's all free here. This explains as much technical analysis as you can possibly see. I talk about risk management as well. These are all related to technical analysis as well. Again, do a little bit more back testing. Watch my workshop that explains everything here. Risk entry, reduce entry, I don't know what that is, but I go over the 3 types of entries that I always do. There's 3 entries that I always do in an impulsive market. This video explains everything on how I enter, how I set stop loss, how I set target, but I always go for, I have 3 different entries that I usually go for. So I'll use this as an example here. So if I'm looking at a correction that's about to finish, so let's say pound Kiwi here, I'm looking at this correction is about to finish. A reversal order for me is when the price is still within the correction, so any type of reversal to reverse the price. I would set a reversal order, something like this, something like this as a reversal order to push the price. For a breakout entry is something that I will wait for is the price breaking out of a correction. But depending on what type of correction, in something like this, that's such a bigger correction, setting a breakout entry really doesn't make sense. It's just too wide of a stop loss. But what I usually do in this case is I wait for what I call a correction after breakout. So once this correction is finished, once we do see the impulsive move breaking down, and we see a lower time frame correction here, this is a correction after breakout entry, another entry that I talk about. So 3 entries that I usually use in these type of situation. Yeah, you're welcome, Alex. So, any other question, guys? For anything? Happy to answer a few things. The ones I'm watching out for the remaining of the week is kind of what I post here, right? So a few dollar position, few yen pairs that's all need development, and then a couple Aussie Kiwi pairs. Silver I'm currently in, and oil is looking nice as well. And a few crypto here that we went over as well. Okay, so this is always, you can see it from my Telegram. You can click the links to find kind of what I'm looking at for the remaining of the week. Yep. So any last minute question, guys? I'm happy to answer more if there's is. If not, I will eventually wrap up the stream, and then as always, I will do the recap video for this week. I mentioned to you guys, like, this from last week till now, I only enter one position, right? I didn't enter any position. I got tagged out of the Aussie Kiwi on Monday, but no other further position as of now except the silver position that I just entered on the before market close. So this is my silver position I'm running. We'll see how that goes. Like I said, closed on Aussie Kiwi position. Be Aussie Kiwi position on Monday after kind of the New York session close. So kind of result in break even to me. Just a little bit of volatility, a little bit of spread increase during that time, but overall break even. But just looking at the silver position for now, and I'll see what else position that's available till the end of the week. But I was gonna say is I always do my recap videos. I will always do my recap videos for the week. Any trades that I enter, close, or anything like that, I will always update that in my recap videos, which is what I've been doing that consistently for over a year now, I think. If I can find the recap, this is where I always recap every week. I'll take about the position that I open, close, whether it's a win, whether it's a loss, whether it's a break even. I update everything here. I think it's very good to be consistent to yourself, right? You want to be transparent. You want to be honest with yourself. It's not to show people, it's also to yourself, because the more that you're honest with yourself, the more your trading will increase, right? Your trading skills, your trading ability is only going to increase if you're willing to accept the mistakes that you do, work on the mistakes, work on them. So make sure you always journal your trades. That's going to help you to be a better trader as well. Don't I do Sunday market breakdown? Or I call it more of a weekly trading market outlook. So I do this on Monday morning, New York session, but same idea. I do one during the beginning of the week, and I will do one on Wednesday about halfway through. So I'll do 2 live streams per week, one on Monday New York session and one on Wednesday New York session. That's usually what I do. Did I do crypto? Yes, I did. I went over Solana as well, but we can go over that again. Have a lot of trouble with positions. Your point of view helps. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm doing, right? Hopefully it helps. With the outlook, with the market update, this is what I've been doing consistently over a year. Hopefully more years to come, but you're welcome to watch any of these that I post, that I've been posting for over a year. So, but they're basically, the weekly outlook is kind of what I look at for the week ahead, and the midweek market update is more kind of just following up on what I mentioned during the beginning of the week and see what has developed and what has not developed. Yeah, you asked about Solana, right? So Solana to me is looking bullish, right? Looking for bullish potential here. I like how we have an impulsive move, we have a correction, we break out here, and it looks like there is a lower time frame continuation, right? So if this does push up here, you can easily set an entry order if that fits your plan, and push the price up to the previous all-time high. If not, if we can break this all-time high, and further upside is very possible. Suggestion of buying crypto. Yes, Solana is definitely one of them, right? Solana, I have coins in Solana. I forgot, probably somewhere here if I bought. I'm buying Solana to hold, right? So I'm not going to sell them anytime soon. I think Solana is definitely one that you can buy for long term. I'm not a fundamental guy, so I don't do too much research, but I do read up about what they do and things like that. I think Solana is good. I think Cardano is good as well, right? I have Cardano coins all the way bottom here. This is where I bought Cardano back in early this year. So it's been doing well, right? So again, there's difference between trading crypto and investing in crypto. So make sure you guys know the difference, right? If you're investing crypto, then you're buying the physical coin, right? And you're holding it for long term. Whereas if you're trading them, you don't actually own the coin, right? You're just trading with the broker or exchange themselves. You don't own the actual coin. You're just speculating on the price, whether it's going long or going short. All right. Yeah, you're welcome, buddy. Lucky Pat, nice to see you, buddy. Yeah, so I hope that answers the crypto question. I do have Cardano, I do have Solana as well. So, what about Atom? Will it make sense to buy for long term? Yeah, let's take a look. Um, I don't have too much data to go back. I'm not sure if Atom has more price than what I'm seeing here. But so it starts around 2019, I'm assuming. I'm not sure exactly what Atom does. Sorry, I'm not. I didn't really do too much research fundamentally. But if you're looking at price in general, well, we broke this previous all-time high. Looks like there is consolidation here. If this consolidation is a bullish consolidation, then certainly more upside is very possible, right? So I do like what I'm seeing. I do like overall, but I think there is better one right now in terms of price action, in terms of bullish price action. I think there's a few that looks slightly better. Okay, so I mean, to say to invest, I mean to hold for long term, I mean that's anybody's guess, right? I'm not an expert when it comes to something like this. I'm more judging it by technical aspect. I'm more judging it from a price action point of view. What there's a lot of people judging it from more fundamental and the news that they hear. I don't do it that way, but certainly that's a way to trade. That's a way to make decision on, right? I'm more solely based on the technical aspect and what I see from the price, etc. So um, a few that I saw, Solana, Cardano, it's also looking really good, right? So um, for Bitcoin, yeah, I'm not sure. Did you catch here? I think I update. I think I mentioned this last Monday, right? So if you catch here, good. Um, in my opinion, we likely to see further upside. We break this high here, right? So if there's going to be consolidation here, certainly another upside is possible. But because this up move is quite sharp, right? So you have to understand sometimes we might create a bigger or deeper consolidation before the next upside, right? So just have to be aware of that. And we're pretty close to the high here, or all-time high here. So chances are we might even just hit the high or break it, right? This is a lot of people. I when I see people saying about selling Bitcoin and things like that. Honestly, I don't see much bearish point of view. I don't really see bullish perspective from this point, right? And the turning point is right here, right? When the price kind of pushed down from here, the logical choice is to see this as a reversal correction to push higher. Of course, alternatively, it can lead to a bearish continuation, but my bias was always leaning towards a reversal correction, which is kind of in this case a push up, right? And again, we're approaching the all-time high here, so if we can break the all-time high, then further upside is anybody's guess there, right? It's definitely it's looking more probable for the upside here. Yeah, there you go. All right, so I think that's it, right? Any other question? I think that's it. Answered most of the question already. But like I said, I will do a recap video at the end of the week for any trades I enter, but so far it's Aussie Kiwi that I closed down, and I also see I'm also in silver as well. That is, I also have pound Kiwi that I think could be something here that I potentially look out for, and In terms of dollar pairs, my favorite one is still euro dollar, just kind of waiting for this to develop, right? So if this doesn't develop, guys, I'm not entering, right? I made that clear several times, but I still get these messages. People get a little bit prematurely, they enter prematurely ahead, and that usually leads to a FOMO, right? That's more of a FOMO kind of decision. So make sure to wait for confirmation before you enter. That's going to help you in the long run to be more consistent. All right. So thank you very much, guys, for joining me this stream, and hopefully see you guys next. I don't usually do the Asian session anymore. I usually do the New York session, but it's nice to see some familiar face that I know from my group and some new face as well. Hope to see you guys all soon next time. All right. Thank you very much and have a nice day, everyone. I'll see you guys then.